I got my eyes done when I was in college. Let's talk about it. Part 2. So the day of the surgery arrives. I get to the clinic, we do final checks on how I want the final results to look, and I get prepped to go into the operating room. Because I was going to be going under general anesthesia for this, I had to like fast. One thing about me is that when I fast, my veins completely disappear. And like the anesthesia nurse or like the anesthesiologist was coming to like administer the medicine. I tried going in through both arms. They couldn't find any veins, so they ended up going through my hand, and that was actually probably the most painful part of the entire thing. But once they got the needle in and they started pushing the meds through, I went to sleep like that. When I woke up, I was very, very loopy, obviously. My sister actually drove me to and from my appointment. I ended up staying at a hotel to recover. My sister's cat, I have a slight cat allergy. I love cats so much, but I get a little bit sneezy. My eyes get a little bit watery around them. I didn't want to risk that with my eyes like freshly cut open. So that first day after the surgery was probably just the worst of the whole experience because I get very nauseous with the anesthesia. Even after I got my wisdom teeth taken out, I threw up. When I was younger and I got too much like local anesthesia at the dentist, I would throw up. So obviously this time around I also threw up. It was also funny, not funny, but kind of funny because I had to throw up like very dainty. If I threw up with too much force, that's pushing blood up to my face. I didn't want to risk like putting more blood up here because that causes more swelling. But anyways, I spent the next few days just resting in bed with my head kind of elevated and this ice pack over my eyes. The clinic actually provided 2 ice packs. So I basically freeze one while I was icing with the other and kind of alternate through them. My eyelids were also oozing blood for a couple days after the surgery because like you have like fresh cuts on your face. Like they're going to be bleeding. Remember, I had to like very, very gently clean them. For showering, you actually can't get your eyes wet at all for a couple days after you get your surgery. I didn't wash my hair for a couple days. That was probably the most disgusting part. I feel like if you were really careful, you could wash your hair. For me personally, I didn't want to risk it, so I just put my hair into like these French or Dutch braids or something and then just like kept them there. And to like wash my face and stuff, I just use a cotton pad and some micellar water and just very, very gently cleanse my face every day. I also remember doing some research and seeing that a lot of people recommended like arnica tea for like post-op swelling. So I was drinking arnica tea. I also drank a lot of electrolyte beverages to help with just overall hydration. I ate very healthy. Later that week, I went back to the clinic to get my stitches removed, and I think I did drive myself to that one because I didn't have to get anesthesia or anything for this. I don't remember it being painful. I just remember hearing like the little stitches getting clipped off, and I was like, oh, there they go. It was very quick. They just like took a look at my eyes and they're like, okay, you're good to go. And I was like, perfect. And then I was basically done. Went about my days as usual. I just remember like the doctor told me that obviously my skin was pretty mended together. Like they took the stitches out. It was healing well, but it was still weak enough to the point where if I put too much stress on it, the skin could split still. So I just took it very easy for the next couple of weeks. Like I didn't do anything super strenuous. I didn't lift anything super heavy. And I think I will do one more part to this series where I just talk about whether I regret it 3 years after, any final thoughts I have about the whole thing, because I do recognize that it's a very controversial thing, especially in the East Asian community, to have cosmetic surgery done, particularly on your eyes. I'll see you in the next part.